Nakunan pa ng video ni Joey Ann ang masayang pagtitipon at kumpulan ng mga tao sa Itaewon sa Seoul, South Korea.
Kanyang eskwela. Makikitang muli ng mga taga San Diego. Ako lang ang may karapatang magturo sa bayan ngayon.
Hi. Ako nga pala si Noel. Nagtitinda ako ng graham balls sa kahit saan ako mapadpad. Kumusta ka? Okay ka naman ba? Para nga pala to sa mga nagsusumikap. Lumalaban at tumagapang sa amo ng buhay. Ilaban mo lang at ipanalo.
Anong oras na ba? Wala, may reporting pa pala kami. Hi everyone, this is Joshua Laraga, member of Group 3. And for those people who are watching this video, the Group 3 is wonderful to say hi. And for topic for today is all about voice calculation. So let's take a deep dive and understand of what is voice calculation is all about and what are the things under voice calculation. So, what is noise calculation? From the word calculation, ang alam natin sa isip natin ay is all about calculation, calculate. So, what is noise calculation? Noise calculation is the process of calculating the level of noise emission using the metric dB or decibel. In other term, noise emission is created by noise sources or noise emission of various types which are propagating noise into the environment. So what are the topics under the noise calculation? So the topics under the noise calculation, first is noise power, second, noise voltage, third, noise current, fourth, noise in cascaded amplifier, fifth, noise factor, sixth, noise figure, and the last one is noise temperature. So the first topic would like to discuss is noise power. So what is noise power? Noise power is the power of the noise in a signal. The measurement of total noise per bandwidth unit at a device input or output when the signal is absent is referred to as noise power. So ang ibig sabihin dito, kung ang signal is absent, the measurement nito ay per bandwidth sa device ng input at output. So ito ang example ng noise power through graph or line graph. So dito may kita natin ay signal power at noise power. So ang red na tripling dyan is what you call the noise. And the ratio of from noise power to signal power is the bandwidth. So most of the input noise, kadalasan mga na-input na noise is thermal noise. So ang kanyang formula sa noise power is NP is or PN is equal to K or Boltzmann constant, which will tatalakayin natin kung sino yung Boltzmann's constant. 1.38 times 10 raised to negative 23 per joules per Kelvin. Yung T is temperature and the B is the bandwidth. Yun, bandwidth. And ang Boltzmann constant is named after the Austrian physicist is Ludwig Boltzmann. So, sino nga ba si Ludwig Boltzmann? Yun nga, kagaya ng sinabi ko, is siya ay isang physicist or may alam sa mga physics. And siya rin ang malaki ang role niya sa paggawa ng statistical mechanics o mga statistical method. At ang second law of thermodynamics. So let's take an example of using the formula that we discussed early. So what is the noise power when the temperature is 125 degrees Celsius and the noise bandwidth is 2 kilohertz? So we assume ang temperature per Kelvin is 273 plus the given temperature Celsius. So 1.38 times 10 raised to negative 23 times open parenthesis 273 plus 125, which is the given temperature, close parenthesis, times 2000, which is the bandwidth or hertz. So, ito times lang natin yan. And ang makukuha natin is 1.1 times 10 raised to negative 17 watts. Yun ang kanyang noise power. So, the actual application of noise power ay kadalasan makikita natin sa mga TV or radio, mga ganun. And also sa mga broadband signal. Kasi ang noise power is a random process o hindi natin malaman kung ano yung mga noise na napapasok sa mga signals kagaya ng mga broadband at mga TV.
Hi guys, I'm Angelo H. Calanuga and I will discuss noise voltage. The Johnson-Nyquist or noise voltage is the electronic noise generated by the thermal agitation of the charged carriers, usually the electrons, inside an electrical conductor at equilibrium, which happens regardless of any applied voltage. And then, noise voltage is influenced by the temperature, and therefore, is it called thermal noise. So, ang noise voltage at thermal noise ay connected rin. Dahil, when temperature increases, the movement of the free electrons will create noise voltage. So kapag ang ating temperature or ang temperatura ay tumataas o umiinit at ang mga electrons naman ay lalong tumataas din at it will create noise voltage. Transistor, PN diode or resistor. Inside of this component, there is a voltage noise and noise resistance. What is input noise voltage? Input noise voltage is dependent and measured in noise voltage hertz or noise spectral density. It ranges in normal R in 1 noise voltage hertz to 20 noise voltage hertz. So paano nga ba nami-measure ang noise voltage? Ito ang method of measuring noise. To use a waveform analyzer or spectrum analyzer which has the capability to measure RMS voltage in a known bandwidth. The output spectral noise Density is obtained by dividing the measured output noise by the root of the measurement bandwidth. And then, ito naman ang ating noise voltage formula. Noise voltage is equal to 4 kTBR. So, ano nga ba ang kTBR? Ang ibig sabihin ng K, ito ay Boltzmann constant. At ang value nito ay 1.38 times 10 raised to negative 23 joules per Kelvin. At ang ating T naman ay temperature, and ang B is bandwidth or spectrum system or hertz. Ang bandwidth natin is equal to F2 minus F1. And then ito naman ang ating example para sa ating computation. One operational amplifier with a frequency range of 18 minus 20 MHz has input resistance of 10 kilo ohms. Calculate the noise voltage at the input if the amplifier operates at ambient temperature of 27 degrees Celsius. So ang ating bandwidth or BW is equal to F2 minus F1 at iyon ang 20 minus 18 MHz. So ibig sabihin nun 2 MHz ang ating bandwidth. So ito, sisimulan natin ang ating pag-solve. Ito ang ating formula. Noise voltage is equal to 4K TBR is equal to 4 times 1.38 times 10 raised to negative 23 times 273 plus 27 times 2 times 10 to the 6th power and times 10 to the 4th power. So, kapag kinalculate na natin yan o sinolve na, ang lalabas na ating noise voltage is 18 microvolts.
So, dito naman po pala tayo sa noise current. Noise current is electronic noise known as shot noise. Results from the discrete character of electric charge. Given that current truly consists of a flow of discrete charge, shot noise in electronic circuits takes the form of random fluctuation in a DC current. So, since na ang current natin ay not entirely analog at ito ay binubuo ng isang malaking bilang ng discrete charge, ito ay nagre-resulta ng tuloy-tuloy na daloy ng mga discrete pulse na halos katulad ng white noise. So, ano nga po yung white noise? Sabi dito is, white noise is a random signal having equal intensity at different frequencies, giving it a constant power spectral density. So, tinutukoy dito ang atom frequency dahil sa paglipat ng isang electron or charge carrier sa isang conductor. Shot noise discovery. The first understanding of shot noise was developed by Walter Skatke, the German physicist who played a major role in the development of the theory of electron and ion emission. Then dito, may isang pangyayari kung bakit na-discover ni Skatke yung shot noise. Habang nagtatrabaho sa mga vacuum tube thermionic valve, nakita ni Skatke na kahit na ang lahat ng palabas na pinagmumulan ng ingay ay naalis na at ang dalawang uri ng ingay na nanatili pa rin. So dito natuklasan niya na ang isang sa natukoy niya ay resulta ng temperature or temperatura. At ito ngayon ay tinutukoy bilang thermal noise. Ang isa naman ay shot noise or yung tinatawag natin na noise current. Formula of shot noise current. Ito po yung formula ng shot noise current natin. Then, yung Q po dyan is charge on an electron. Given po yan, 1.6 times 10 raised to the negative 19 coulombs. And then, dito naman po sa I natin is current through the junction in PA or yung power amplifier natin. Delta F, bandwidth in hertz. Then, bago tayo mag-proceed sa calculation, is tatalakayin muna natin kung saan natin i-multiply mamaya yung current at bandwidth ng noise current natin kasi mamaya is dito rin tayo mag-base para sa multiplier natin. So dito is yung current. Ito po yung table ng current natin. Bali, ayan po yung magiging multiplier natin dun sa given sa example mamaya. Then, dito naman po sa delta F or yung bandwidth in hertz. Ayan po. Then, ito na po yung example natin. Ang given po natin dyan is para po sa current is 20 milliampere. And then, dito naman po sa B is yung bandwidth natin, 8 kilohertz. And then, ito po yung formula. Then, ganito mo natin siya ilalagay sa scientific calculator. So, dito naman po, ilalagay po natin yung mga given po dun sa example. Then, first, yung dun po sa Q natin. Or yung charge on an electron natin. So, yung given dun is 2 times 1.6 times 10 raised to the negative 19. Then times dun po sa current natin is yung 20 times 10 raised to the negative 3. Yung value po ng ampere. Then ito po times 8 sa bandwidth naman po natin. Yung given po doon times 8 times 10 raised to the 3. Then dito po titingin po tayo dito sa calculated result. Then dito po tayo mag-i-equal ngayon. Square root po muna, then answer. Then ito na po yung kalalabasan pag engineering notation na 7.155417528 times 10 raised to the negative 9. Then kapag ni-round up po natin siya is 7.16. Then ang hinahanap po natin is noise current. So ang gagamitin po natin dyan is yung SI unit po ng ating current. Ano ba yung SI unit ng current natin? Is ampere. So, 7.16 nano ampere. Bakit ko siya nasabing nano ampere? Kasi ito naman yung nano ampere, yun yung value niya dun sa table. Kung babalikan natin yung table, yung value ng nano ampere dun is 10 raised to the negative 9 ampere. So, yun lang po sa example 1.
I am Zai Mumia A. Fabricante, and then my topic is all about noise in cascaded amplifier. Before I start, kailangan muna nating malaman kung ano ang cascaded amplifier. A cascaded amplifier simply means multiple amplifiers na nag-gathered together into a single device. Ang output ng one amplifier stage is connected to the input amplifier stage. And I'll give some examples include laser pulse driver amplifiers and then power amplifiers for RF designs. Ang ibig sabihin ng RF is radio frequency. And proceed na tayo sa ating topic, which is yung noise in cascaded amplifier. Ang multi-stage amplifier circuit ay madalas na ginagamit para ma-achieve ang required gain. Sa scheme na ito, ang amplifier is a series of separate amplifier modules or stages connected in a series. Aliyan, ipapakita ko sa inyo ang figure 1. Bawat stages ay nag-amplify ng signal na nare-receive by it, which is characterized by the gain of the stage. Each amplification stage, like any RF component, ay mayroong sariling noise level na nagkakarakterize ng noise figure. Then, yung main contribution naman kasi ng noise amplifier stage is yung thermal noise nito. So, bali yung source is which is yung chaotic movement of the electric charge carrier. The intensity of which depends on the temperature of the amplifying element of the stage. Laging tatandaan na ang noise figure is defined as the value of the signal-to-noise ratio at the input of the cascade and divided by the signal-to-noise ratio at its output. Bali, let us consider first yung amplifier na nagko-consist ng two serially connected stages. Bali, if there is no signal at the amplifier input, ang mangyayari dyan, it is only half noise of this stage will be observed at the output of the first stage. The noise from the first stage naman ay ma-amplified sa second stage, and then the noise from the second stage will be added to this stage. Bali, para ma-determine natin ang noise figure of two-stage amplifier, ipapakita ko sa inyo ang formula natin. Formula is F equal to F1 plus open close parenthesis F2 minus 1 over G1, wherein F represents the noise figure of the cascade, and then F1 the noise figure of the first, and F2 the noise figure of the second component. And then last is yung G1, the power gain of the first component siya. It follows from the equation that the noise of the first stage contributes more to the total noise figure. Bale, the total noise of the figure will be lower the higher the first stage gain. Parehas lang din yan kapag yung gain stages ay nag-i-increase. The overall noise figure formula of the stack amplifier can be written as follows. Ipapakita ko sa screen. Bali, analyze the above formula is yung the first stage of the amplification should have the lowest noise level. Dahil dyan, yung first stage noise will be amplified sequentially in all subsequent stages. So, the smaller they are initially, the smaller their contribution at the amplifier output. And then the last amplification stage must have the lowest gain of all stages. It's because all previous amplification stages will be amplified in this stage. Since ang mga mixer on which the frequency conversion takes place have sufficiently intense noise, the very first amplification stage is performed even before frequency conversion. So that is at the carrier frequency. This stage ay tinatawag na low noise high frequency amplifier or LFA. Given the reflected signal often has very little power, LNAs try to be placed closer and receiving antenna para ma-minimize yung losses ng transmission path sa signal papuntang receiver. That is in the waveguide. Therefore, it is often the case that a low noise amplifier is placed directly sa antenna. And then that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fabricante. Now we're gonna talk about noise factor and noise figure.
So in 1942, Dwight North introduced the term noise factor, which referred to absolute receiver sensitivity, which is a numeric referred to field strength. So that field strength in a plane polarized wave passing an antenna necessary to produce a signal power at the detector of a receiver equal to the noise power at the sum point. To characterize the receiver alone, Harold T. Fries introduced in 1944 the noise figure concept, which characterized the degradation in signal-to-noise ratio by the receiver. So the concept of noise figure, it allows the sensitivity of any amplifier to be compared to an ideal lossless and noiseless amplifier which has the same bandwidth and input termination.
So what is noise factor? So the noise factor of an amplifier or any network is defined in terms of the signal-to-noise ratio at the input and the output of the system. So basically, this is the ratio of signal-to-noise ratio. So the symbol for noise factor is letter F. So F will be equal to signal-to-noise ratio at the input and signal-to-noise ratio at the output, or SNR at input divided by SNR at output. So we can write here F is equal to PSI divided by PNI, PSO divided by PNO, where PSI and PNI is signal to noise power at input. I signify input. So S signify signal and signify noise. And I stands for input. So yung PSO and PNO, this is the output signal noise power. So the PSI and PNI is signal and noise power at input, and PSO and PNO is signal and noise power at output. So in the simplified way, we can write here F is equal to PSI divided by PNI multiply PNO divided by PSO, where PSI and PNI is equal to signal and noise power at input, PSO and PNO is signal and noise power at output. So sometimes noise factor is expressed in dB. So when noise factor is expressed in dB, it is called as noise figure, where F is in absolute, it is noise factor. If F in dB, that is noise figure. So what is noise figure? So noise figure is the same as noise factor. So it is a merit used to indicate how much the signal to noise ratio deteriorates as a signal passes through a circuit or a series of circuits. But the difference is that the noise figure is stated in decibels. So it is simply noise factor in decibels, and the sign for noise figure is an F. Again, for the noise factor, we have F, while for the noise figure, we have an F. So we can express F dB, that is 10 log 10 F, or 10 log base 10 F. F is noise factor. Or we can express 10 log base 10 signal to noise ratio at input divided by signal to noise ratio at output. Or we can write 10 log base 10 S by N at input, S by N at output. Or we can express like 10 log base 10 SNR at input, SNR at output. So this is the noise figure. So if every variable is a dB or decibels, so yung ating formula for noise figure is equal to signal to noise ratio input in dB minus signal to noise ratio output in dB.
So let's talk about an ideal noiseless amplifier. So in an ideal noiseless amplifier, the signal to noise power ratio input is equal to the SNR output. Kumbaga, kung ano yung pinasok is yun din yung mailalabas na signal. So equal lang as you can see on the diagram. Pero sa non-ideal amplifier naman, the signal to noise power input is not equal to the signal to noise power output. So makikita nyo dyan na may internally generated noise.
So let's have an example. So for example number 1, the question is a transistor amplifier has a measured signal to noise power of 25 at its input and 5 at its output. So calculate the transistor's noise factor. So ang hinahanap dito is yung noise factor. So the formula for noise factor is F is equal to SNR at input divided by SNR at output. So yung SNR at input is yung 25 and SNR at output naman is yung 5. So bali 25 divided by 5 is equal to 5. So yung noise factor is 5. So example number 2. The signal power of the input to an amplifier is 100 microwatt and the noise is 1 microwatt. At the output, the signal power is 1 watt and the noise power is 40 milliwatt. What is the amplifier noise figure? So in this case, hindi given kung ano yung input signal power to noise ratio and the output signal power to noise ratio. Dahil yung given dito is yung signal power and yung noise power. So, para makuha natin is PS over PN or signal power divided by noise power. So, para sa SNR at input is i-divide natin yung 100 microwatt and 1 microwatt, and for SNR at output is yung 1 watt divided by 40 milliwatt. So, with all those given, the F will be equal to 4. So, bali noise factor pa lang yung nahahanap natin or nakukompute. So, ang hinahanap dito is noise figure. So, ang formula for noise figure is 10 log F or magiging 10 log 4, which is yung ating noise factor. So, magiging makukuha nating sagot is 6.02 decibels.
So all devices which process a signal contribute noise and thus have noise figures such as amplifiers, mixers, transistors, and diodes. So ito yung mga mayroong noise figures. And for example is RF attenuators. So yung RF attenuators is ginagamit to reduce the strength of an radio frequency signal. So meron itong noise figure floor equal to their attenuation value. So yung 10 dB pad nito ay meron ding 10 dB noise figure or 10 decibels noise figure. So kapag yung signal ay pumasok sa pad and the noise floor is at negative 174 dBm per hertz, so the signal is attenuated by 10 dB. So while the noise floor remains constantly. So hindi ito pwedeng bumaba ng negative 174 dBm per hertz at room temperature. So therefore, the signal to noise ratio through the pad is degraded by 10 dB. So like amplifiers, if the noise floor is above kdB, the signal to noise ratio degradation of the pad will be less than its noise figure.
So good morning, Ma'am Mary Jane Concepcion, and I am Jaime De Ocampo from ECE NS2A second year. And ang topic po natin ngayon ay ang noise temperature. So what is noise temperature? In electronics, noise temperature ay isang paraan upang maipahayag ang level na maaaring magamit sa noise power upang ma-introduce ang kagamitan o ang pinanggalingan nito. So ang power spectral density ng noise ay maaaring maipahayag sa mga term ng temperature na maaaring makapag-produce ng level ng Johnson-Niki's noise. So mag-proceed po tayo sa formula. So ang formula niya po ay ang P sub N over P equals K sub B and T, where P sub N is the noise power in W or watts, B is the total bandwidth, H say per hertz, over which that noise power is measured. K sub B is the Boltzmann constant, which is equivalent to 1.381 times 10 to the power of negative 23 joules per Kelvin. And P is the noise temperature or K Kelvin. So as you see in the screen, this is the application of noise temperature. So this is the antenna noise temperature application. So antenna noise temperature is a measure of all noise that enters a receiver through its antenna. Maaari makapag-contribute sa receiver ng system ng noise temperature na nagtataya ng 700 hanggang 750 kelvins per Kelvin. So, ito naman po ang antenna noise temperature actual application. So, as you see in the screen, pinapakita po dito yung antenna at nakapaligid po dito yung maaari niyang ma-detect, like yung sound or temperature sa building na ito, then temperature from the sun, from the moon, and yung mga nakikita niyo po dyan. So mag-proceed naman po tayo sa ranges or scale ng decibel in every aspect. So, as you see in the street, may iba-iba pong decibel scale. Meron pong decibel sa paghinga na nagtataya ng 10 decibel. Sa sakyan naman po ay 70 decibels. At ang pinakamataas po ay ang fireworks na nagtataya naman sa 140 decibels. So where can we apply it in real life situation? So may apply po natin to in every area ng ating mundo. Like, nasa desert po tayo, ma-detect po tayo ng noise and temperature sa pamamagitan ng paglalatag ng antenna noise temperature sa lugar na ito. At ganun din po sa karagatan o maging sa winter area or yung may mga snow area. So pinapakita naman po dito yung scale ng percent ng total period at attenuation exceeded and path attenuation in decibels. So, based po ito sa region sa United States of America. So, makikita nyo po yung mga region na yan like Blacksburg, Waltham, Holmdel, Greenbelt, and Austin. So mag-proceed na po tayo sa final. So this is the example problem number 1. So ang given dito ay P sub n is equals to 1,600 watt. This is the siren that has 4 speakers. Then the B is equals to 500 Hertz. This is the minimum bandwidth of siren. So ito na po yung calculation here. So 1,600 watts over 500 Hertz or i-divide po ito. So ang magiging kinalabasan niya po ay 3.2 joules. So ayun nga, 3.2 joules over 2.31775,057 times 10 to the power of 23 Kelvin. So, paano po natin nakuha yung sagot mo? So, ang 1 joule po ay equivalent to 7.24297052 times 10 to the power of 22. Then, yung equivalent po na yon ay ita-times po natin doon sa lumabas na pinag-divide natin na watts and hertz. So, ang equivalent po nun ay 3.2. So, pag pinag-times nyo po yung equivalent ng joule sa lumabas dito sa watts divided by hertz, ito po ang magiging kinalabasan niya. Yung 3.2 joules over 2.31775,057 times 10 the power 23 Kelvin. So, proceed po tayo sa second problem. So, sa given naman po na ito, P sub L is equals to 1,323 watts. So, ito po yung car in watt hours. So, B is equals to 6 Hertz. Ito naman po yung car main speakers. So, ito na po yung formula niya or calculation niya. So, 1,323 watts over 60 Hertz is equals to 22.05 joules over 1.59775 times 10 to the power of 24 Kelvin. So, paano po natin nakuha yung sagot na yun? So, katulad pa rin po dun sa nauna, ang 1 joule is equivalent to 7.24297052 times 10 to the power of 22. Then, yung equivalent po na yun ay ita-times natin kung sa nakuha natin dito sa pinag-divide natin ng watts and hertz. So, 7.24297052 times 10 to the power of 22 times 22.05 joules is equivalent to 22.05 joules over 1.59705 times 10 to the power of 24 Kelvin. So, ito po ang pinaka-answer natin sa second factor. So, ito lang po yung mga references na pinagpunan ko ng aking mga ginamit upang makagawa ng aking topic. So, ayun lang po ma'am. Maraming salamat po.